The scarier visual will be to think about the states that started doing what we're just starting about 20 years ago and how much further ahead they will be, and the results that they're seeing now.
They were doing this that long ago, huh?
Not exactly this,
Yeah.
but assisting early childhood education and providing higher quality. There's a lot of longitudinal studies. The Abecedarian study that from the 60s that did similar control group, intervention group, provided children at risk in a very high quality preschool program, and those that and then a group that did not have it, and those kids are now in their 40s, and they are still saying the children in the intervention group are having lasting effects, more likely to have gone to college, have a higher income level, have less likely to have dropped out of high school. All of those factors are in place well into their 40s, so it's not something new. It's been around a while.
We've got a phone number that try to put up on the screen too, because this is a fascinating program. As we mentioned earlier, it really does probably affect almost all of us in some shape or form, and certainly as time goes on. 601-898-1400. That's 601-898-1400. That's the main office there, I guess, in Jackson.
That's correct.
And Dr. Smith has a staff, I guess, there a little bit.
do.
Some folks can answer some questions, and maybe folks who are watching. Now, the daycare centers are already decided upon, at least for now, right?
We just selected just this week. The centers do not know which ones are. I'll announce that later this week on our website.
Okay, don't want to share any of that with us.
I
just
can't, but there are some in this area.
Yeah, a little exclusive here on the Focus program. Okay, well, but anyway, I mean, I just thought maybe if somebody's out there that has a daycare center, a child care center, they might want to at least call and learn a little bit more about it. There's nothing wrong with that.
That would be good. Even though I've selected centers for this year, we will be adding 100 new classrooms next year of 3-year-olds and 100 new classrooms of 4-year-olds. So I'm going to track the children all the way up through kindergarten and all of those years. So they are welcome to call and get on our list. You
know, one of the things about this, it seems to me, correct me if this is wrong, but one of the things that seems to be interesting about this is that you're not trying to reinvent the wheel here, really. You're working with existing programs already in place to a certain degree, aren't you?
That's right. I mentioned the quality rating system. By being part of our project, they automatically become part of that, which is an excellent newer initiative. There's also resources for parents called the Resource and Referral Offices, and they are located at many community colleges throughout the state. We're partnering with them, and they're providing office space for my staff to be in because we're statewide. So that's a good place for folks to go as well for information about what to look for in a quality child care center and all of those things. So we're partnering with QRS, we're partnering with the R&R centers, partnering with Mississippi Economic Council and spreading the word and working with the business community. And Head Start's been on board with what we're doing as well as members of our advisory board, and will be part of the study. So we're definitely linking. We don't want to be the new kid in town that came in with this new idea. We want it to be part of the big picture.
Yeah. What's the group that you hope just really takes this in the most? And I guess it'd be the parents, maybe. You know, you'd hope that the parents would be really behind this and almost, where's one of those daycare centers that's doing this? I want to find that one that's in my area. And that may be another reason to call. Somebody could call, you know, once you can let folks know what those centers are.
That's right.
I'm not saying go leave the place that you're at, but at the same time,
it definitely would be beneficial for parents to just be aware. I mean, a lot of times parents think quality of a child care center is based on the hours and how it fits their schedule, or how much you're paying. If it's really expensive, it must be really good. When really the research talks much more about nurturing environments, lots of visual stimulation, lots of downtime, lots of reading, and so it doesn't necessarily mean it costs a lot of money to provide this. So it would be great for parents to be involved in that process, and those R&R offices have wonderful checklists to provide to parents to say, here's what to look for, because we know that you're busy, here's an idea of some basic things to look for. And then there's an organization called the National Association for the Education of Young Children. They have a website called naeyc.org, and they list all the, I just have one, and yes, I know I've read to her.
Can you see that?
I
results?
do. I do. She is reading books now that are well advanced for her age and has a passion for reading. She's very strong in her vocabulary, and of course all mothers say that about their children,
Yeah.
but I definitely...
But that's fascinating, though. You've seen it firsthand, basically, how that works.
Especially the talking to her. I remember just talking about breakfast and talking about lots of little things, and
How old was she then?
Baby, from infant
Yeah.
on. Those first 3 years of life, you need to talk about everything under the sun. And I see that now. Her vocabulary is just amazing. She's 10 now, or 11 now, but she, even as a young child, vocabulary has always been her strength.
We've got just a few minutes left, so where do we go from here? And we've talked about, you know, this is a 3-year program, and we talked about the fact that once those three years are up, then it really kind of has to shift to another level, doesn't it?
It does. It does. You know, we've been very fortunate in our fundraising. We actually have 3 to 4 years of funding to keep it going. And you mentioned most of my funders definitely say, we're not funding this forever. We're funding it to help you get the data to prove to legislators. But to me, that's the number one thing. We do continue to need funding for this, so if anyone's interested in finding more about that, they can certainly contact me. But to me, it's going to be helping explain this and have it be explained to policymakers to where real change can happen in our state. So, you know, the big picture is down the road, my dream would be that we would become part of Department of Ed or Department of Human Services, and we would be something that all child care centers would receive.
It's just part of the system.
Part of the system.
I mean, this is part of what we do, just like we have kindergarten, just like we have first grade.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Nothing mandatory for parents to send their children under 5. I don't mean that, but but that there would be a funding stream so you could walk into a child care center and know that they had support. I don't know the last time you visited a program that served children under the age of 5, but these are small businesses getting very little to no assistance, and we really want them to have degreed teachers, and we want them to have the materials they need. And when they're struggling, you know, to pay their teachers and pay for things, they don't always have the resources to provide the quality that they need. And to me, if we could help them, then all those children would automatically be in better situations.
Yeah. So we'd increase the number of daycare centers and increase the number of children that could be served by this, and increase the staff, I guess, and increase the funding,
their education levels,
and all of those things would certainly be a positive thing. And then what do you have a vision in there about what you see in the difference of Mississippi? You
know, you can look at short term, and I talked about kindergarten readiness and that more children will come to school having lessen that gap, but I do foresee that down the road that we would see brighter futures for our children. We would see a more fully trained workforce. We would see less dropout rates, leading to more children going on to college, leading to higher paying positions after they obtain that additional training. So how can that not yield a brighter future for our state?
I recently had a conversation with a gentleman that's with the Mississippi Technology Alliance. It's a nonprofit organization, but basically they work with businesses, and they're involved in things that are related to technology a lot of times with businesses and new development of technology and that sort of thing. And I kept in the back of my mind, you know, I was thinking, you know, this is in Mississippi, you know, and this is, you know, we're getting competitive globally speaking. And that's what these young people are going to have to, those that are being born, they're just like us. They're going to have to be ready to compete on a global basis.
That's right.
And
if you drop out of high school, how do you do that? You know, that's the key.
Okay. We've run out of time, unfortunately, and this has been a fascinating topic, and we've all learned some positive things here, I think. Again, this program is called Mississippi Building Blocks, and it's just getting started. It's a 3-year program. And we do have a phone number that we want to put up on the screen one more time, 601-898-1400. That's 601-898-1400. And we thank very much Dr. Lori Smith, who is the Executive Director of the Mississippi Building Blocks, for being here with us, driving all the way up from Jackson so that she could be on the program. Thank you so much for being here. And we thank you for joining us. We hope to see you again next time on Focus.